Welcome back, Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy, and today we're going to go over my top 5 cardboard destroyers. I don't know about any of you guys, but anytime I get a box in from Amazon or my wife gets a box or shoe boxes, cereal boxes, you name it, I like to chop it up. And these 5 are my favorite to use whenever I got to slice up a bunch of cardboard. And usually, they perform the way they do for a few different reasons. It's either usually, depending on how thin the grind is behind the edge bevel, and then what type of grind it is, whether it's a hollow or a flat or a convex grind, and then also depends on how sharp you got the edge. So this is nothing scientific. This is just me using my knives for enjoyment, and just going to tell you which knives I like to cut cardboard with the best. My best slicers that, at this moment. So starting off at number 5 is the Strider SJ75, and this is just a beauty, comfortable to cut cardboard. His thing is nice and thin behind the edge. Look at that. It's like paper thin. Let me see. I got the measurements behind the edge. The SJ reads .020 behind the edge. That's right behind the thinnest part of the cutting edge. And that's fairly thin. That usually makes for a nice slicer. And this is a nice hollow grind. So up until you get to some nice thick cardboard, it starts to bind up in this thick portion right there. But this is definitely one that I enjoy cutting cardboard up with. Alrighty, let's go to number 4. That is the Benchmade. I think it's the Amicus, and I know they've changed the name now, but let me give you the model number. Of course, model number is not on here. Great. Well, I'll try to leave it down in the description box below. Oh, wait, there it is. The 490. So this thing, this one is S30V steel. The Amicus is rocking S90V steel. This is definitely an underrated knife. I know it probably turns some people off because it has the assisted open mechanism, but this knife is sexy as hell. And if I have to have a speed safe, this thing is done perfectly. You got a very, very small flipper tab. That's how you should have a flipper tab. If you have it assisted, why not have this tiny little tab and let the assist do the rest of the work? That thing's just a joy to open and close. Nice thin stock. And let's see what this is behind the cutting edge. Is .017, so nice and thin grind. They can do that with S90V. It can be done ground thinly and still be durable at the edge. This is rocking a flat grind, and definitely a joy to cut cardboard with. All these knives that I'm telling you, they're very minute differences when it comes to cutting, except this one. When you're cutting thicker cardboard, like I said, that thick, whenever it comes abruptly to this thick portion, binds up a little bit. But this one stays thin pretty much. I mean, that's also some thin stock, and you got this nice high flat grind. This is a great cardboard slicer too, and with the S90V steel, you can cut cardboard for days. And I touch it up very easily on my Spyderco sharp maker. Absolutely love that thing. If you don't have one, you might want to invest in it. All right, number 3, tried and true Spidercode Delica. And this one's in HAP 40 steel. Got me a Casey Lynch deep carry clip. Very, very nice. The behind the edge bevel is .020, and you have that full flat grind. So this is definitely a joy to cut with. And I also put my own edge on there, so that also aids in its cutting performance. And I'm gonna do a review on this knife if that's something that y'all are interested in. I like this HAP 40. It's very easy to sharpen, at least in my experience, and it holds an edge pretty darn good. It's not It's not better than, S90V or any of those upper tier steels, but definitely, holds it, I would say, at least good as S30V, a little bit better, depending on how I sharpen it. And that is number 3. Number 2, boy, this one's been blowing my mind left and right. The Spyderco Spidey Chef. This one's got the LC200N, and man, out of every knife that I own, this LC200N has taken the most wickedly sharp edge, and the steel has performed over and beyond what I ever imagined. I put an edge on this thing, I don't know, probably 3-4 months ago, and well, I don't know, my memory's terrible, and this thing has stayed sharp. I've cut tons of cardboard with it. It's very comfortable in hand. Love this knife. It doesn't have the fit and finish as the Swiss Bowie, but I'll tell you what, this knife is just excellent. I love it. Definitely one of my favorites to cut up cardboard. It just glides through that cardboard like nobody's business. Now I will tell you, the steel does, if you don't like scratches on your blade, or you want your blades to be pristine, you definitely don't want to use this one, because it scratches easily. I think the first time I cut cardboard, you can see all the scratches. That's just from cutting cardboard and some wood carving. And I mean, I've probably cut up some plastic or something, but definitely scratches up pretty easily. That's not something that bothers me though. And number 1, oh wait, real quick. The behind the edge bevel on this one is .016, so that is lending great cutting performance. That nice and thin behind the edge. Look at that, very paper thin, and that'll definitely help in cutting through cardboard, especially the thicker stuff. The Delica and the Spidey Chef, that's usually my go-to blades if I'm not using one of these. These are by far, I got 2 examples of this, by far my favorite cardboard destroyer, and that is the Boker Excalibur. This is the CPM S35 VN model. Super high hollow grind. Now I wouldn't want to use this in some rough task, like something like hard plastic, or I don't know, anything that's like hardwood or anything like that, because look, I don't think I can get that to come across, because it's like razor blade thin. I mean, this thing, I measured it behind the cutting edge at the thinnest part, and it's .006. That is freaking amazing. Now, this is rocking a Zelric edge, so it's screaming sharp. I think all I've had to do is touch it up on the sharp maker here recently, because I cut up a bunch of boxes with it. Now, I'll tell you, if this one, I still have to do my review on this, and this one is, not a cheap blade, but they have several models of this, and I own another one. This is the 440C model. It's got the same thinness behind the edge, and I love this one. This one is way more comfortable in hand, because as you can see, you have a lot thicker of a handle, so it fills out the hand just phenomenally, and the performance on this 440C is great. I couldn't tell you the difference between the two. I mean, they're so thin, so I got some microchipping with this one. It has a micro bevel on it, but I still get some microchipping because it's so thin behind the edge. This one has performed excellent. These are super cheap, and look at that. If you want to get yourself into a front flipper on a budget, this thing, watch this, whoop, and this is the smoothest knife I own. And guess what, guys? It's on Teflon washers. It's definitely not a hard use knife, but if you, like I said, you want to try out a front flipper, this is the way to go. Try it out. I think I got it on sale for $30. and I think you can get them around $40 or no more than 60, but just a nice knife, especially, like I said, if you do a lot of cardboard cutting, this is a great one. And I have an honorable mention. This knife right here would have been, if I had a 6th place, the Fox Knives Tur. Um, this is rocking Elmax steel, and I must say, even though, I mean, it's not as thin behind the edge as all these other ones, it's like .028, I think, which is not terrible at all. But for such a small knife and EDC size knife, I would rather see them thin it out a little bit. I think you see how broad this bevel is, and I think that's at like, I don't know, 17 or 16 degrees. No, it's at 16 degrees per side. And this thing started whittling hair at around 2,000 grit, and it is screaming sharp, and having this high flat grind has lent itself to be a phenomenal cardboard destroyer. So if y'all enjoy this video and y'all want to see what knives I'm testing out, you know, I always test out my knives on cardboard to see which one's going to do better. I usually get probably 10 to 15 knives, and I do a test back and forth seeing which one's cutting the best with the same cardboard, and that's the results. Let me hurry up and put them on screen. Your first place right here is the Boker Excalibur. Your second place is your Spyderco Spidey Chef. And these two were, I mean, it's hard to tell the difference whenever you got, you know, such good performance, along with the Delica. Everybody knows the Delica is a good slicer with that full flat grind. And then, very underrated. I need to do a review on this knife because just a beautiful, beautiful blade. I would have loved to see this one in ball bearings or just phosphor bronze washers. Just a sexy, sexy knife. And last, and definitely not least, the Strider Mini SJ75. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. Super, super thin behind the edge, and just a great cutter. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Let me know if y'all enjoyed this type of video. If so, I could do more. And I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.